yell at your iPad. Hi, Tuesday, October 25th. We're trying not to yell at iPads. Right, let's see. We're going to talk about the character homework assignment thing in just a moment. Our checkpoint reading-wise will be page 74. My goal is today and tomorrow we're going to get really close to page 60 so that you guys only have like 15 pages you have to read for homework between Wednesday to Friday. But that'll require me to push to get things done. And then missing assignment-wise, I think we're almost completely caught up. I have very few kids left with missing assignments, so yay! And so with the homework, I'm not officially assigning it until tomorrow. But this is what I'm going to be looking for you to do. You're going to be making 10 connections between things in the book and then you in some way. With how much you write will determine what your grade will be. If you are aiming to get a C or a D, that'd be the top example. If you're aiming for an A or a B, that'd be the bottom example. They are both one sentence. It's just one of them is a detailed sentence and one of them is a crappy sentence. So if you do crappy sentences, you only get the C or the D. If you do the good sentences, you get the A or the B. So what you'll do is just put the number and then put the page number you found it. I found mine on page 27, and it says, "We sat in her treehouse." A bad example is, "I like tree houses." That's awful. I'm looking for have an actual connection to your life. The bottom one would be a better one. "We sat in her treehouse." At my old house, we had a cool tree house in the backyard that my younger brother and I would play Transformers in. So that actually makes a connection between you and that thing, so I can tell. Because I had kids earlier today who said, "Page 19, it says school, I'm in school." And other kid was like, "Page 15, it says book, I'm holding a book." Good job. Right in the throat. Those will all be horrible, trashy ones. If that's what you're going for, more power to you. Just realize ahead of time what grade you'll have.
Wait, so does that mean the person...
Eliza, what's up?
So if we're at like... If we're at like 18 and we can't find like absolutely any other ones, can we just like find something and then make a fake connection to it?
Well, I mean, I won't know, would I? Because I have no idea what real things happen to you. I don't know if you actually played Transformers with a brother. If I did know, that'd be kind of weird and creepy. Sebastian!
Yeah, I'm not actually.
He's not actually in there, so he's just choosing to sit over there for some reason. So he's a special child.
Can I move to Struggle Town instead of standing?
Nope, I'm out of seats.
Well,
If you, yeah, but you chose to go over there. You chose not earlier. Yeah, I put you in the hallway.
And I can sit down?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
Oh, I need my book and
Uh-huh.
pencil.
Yeah. 1 second, we'll be right back.
Yay.
So now we're going to take a look for you guys to help you out. Look in book. I'm buying you a moment by babbling because I'm going to randomly call on you to see what connections you have made. If you went yesterday, I'm old. I might not remember if you went yesterday, so you may get a chance to go again here in just a moment. You're going to tell me the page number, what connection it is, and then how it connects to your life in some way. So that's what I'm looking for you to do. Hopefully in the some part that we have read up to this point so far. I think I'm running out of slow babbly bits to try and help you guys out. So let's go.
Do you have a little bit more?
From there. Carter, you found one?
It's not in this book,
Huh?
but I
Highlighted in your book?
I forget what page, but it's like when it was talking about him being like Team Hero.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I like highlighted Team Hero because
How does that connect to you?
Heroes team.
Oh, I'm with you on the heroes team. I see the connection now. All right. Riley.
Wait, we're doing what we highlighted,
Mhm.
right? Okay. I highlighted
What
on
page?
17,
Okay.
standing in any of my classes because I never have B points.
Wow, way to attack yourself on that one. But yes, that would be a solid connection to make on that one. So we can try to help you. Evil.
People really do change.
Wait, what page number?
34.
Okay. And you said
Like my brother, he used to be really shy, and now all he wants to do is like hang out with people.
oh, that would be a good change. I can see that. Jehovah.
Oh, page number is 22.
22. Okay.
It says weak
And how does that connect to you?
because someone I know is weak.
Who's the someone
Okay.
you know?
Don't worry about it.
It better not be
He's
me.
probably right. Robert.
On page 36, I highlighted, what did he do, Tyson? He called me a slime ball. And that kind of reminds me of my sister, because every time I call her like a name, she always just like crying and stuff like that. So
That would make sense
Why
to me
are younger?
too.
Is that your younger or older?
Younger.
I know.
What about
Who attacks younger siblings? It's the worst.
Me?
I'm aware.
It is
No,
very
but I know how
enjoyable.
to beat you.
And
It
Austin,
depends on the situation.
Burying my head in my first
what page number? Okay.
Like for last night, I forgot a lot of homework, and this morning I had to bury my head in it.
Oh, I'm sorry, that makes it rough. Tomorrow we will pick on more of you guys again and give you a chance to go. If you've not got a chance to go today, we'll get to more of you then. I will officially assign this tomorrow, and then it will come due Tuesday of next week. So tomorrow I'll show you how to get it turned in and stuff like that. Let's see, from where we got to with you guys, let's see, things we covered. We got to the fight with Tyson and Jared, and do the yelling back and forth, and then him being on the track team and Coach Schuler figuring out who was going to be the not the assistant, the
team captain.
team captain, and we find out he's going to be the assistant coach, and that's what makes him all grumpy. This was them talking up in the treehouse. I tried to come up with a little cheat sheet for you to who all the different characters are, although fingers crossed, if today's reading goes well, we're going to get past exposition and then get to the rising action where we have like all the Shadow Club people coming in. Well, we'll see. So today, let's see, for you guys, we stopped on page 40, about halfway down. So which means we got to the Tyson and Jared fight again. We got to the Tasmanian Devil and the actual one that bites you and spins around in different circles and stuff like that. And then we have not gotten to that yet, so I get to leave it on this one.
Go for it.
So we had just then found out that Coach Mercer pulled him to the side and said, hey, you didn't make it. You're not going to be team captain. You get to be assistant coach. So we were on page 40, about halfway down. There's a little break in it, and that's where I'll pick up. And then I'll explain the next picture in a second. The hall was empty when I left the gym, except for one kid. None other than Lost in Space himself was standing outside the gym doors. He was waiting for me. It wasn't a coincidence. Oh, you spoke to the coach already, huh? Yeah. So he told you I won? How'd you already know? Come on, he spoke to me first. You don't think he'd tell you before he told me, do you? Austin waited for an answer, but I didn't give him one. I'll bet you like being a team secretary. No, assistant coach. God, all it really is a team secretary. Hey, I'll make sure to give you lots of memos to type. Maybe you can come over to my house sometime and answer some phones? I turned and walked down the hall. He followed, his aeropeds gliding across the floor. I wanted to step on him and leave nice gray tread marks on the snow-white leather toes. I highlighted that because when I take kids' shoes, a lot of times they say, don't crease my shoes, and it just makes me laugh. It's not a secretary. All right, a gopher then. I stopped. What? You know, a gopher? Hey, Jared, go for this. Hey, Jared, go for that. Hey, Jared, gopher, gopher, gopher. I just scowled at him. He saw the anger in my unpoker face and laughed. Just kidding, he said in the nastiest, most obnoxious tone a person could come up with. Then he laughed harder and turned away, his aeropeds bouncing off down the hallway and squeaking on the floor. With that one, so if you don't know what a gopher is, it looks like one of these. It's like a little ground animal, like a groundhog.
What is that?
That one is from Winnie the Pooh, the little one that was like on the size of a little gopher. One, it's an animal. Two, it's also a job. If you are like in the entrance level of a business or in a movie, your job is called a gopher because they just send you to go do things. Like, hey, go for some coffee for people or go for some pencils. And they just call you a gopher because they're always telling you to go for things. And I found a little comic that connected to it. It was like, suddenly Mort realized he would never climb the corporate ladder. After all, he was just a gopher, which means, you know, the lowest level thing on there. So, gopher thing, because it's going to keep coming back. It becomes his nickname and causes fights and stuff like that. Gopher. I felt more humiliated than I'd felt in a long time as I walked down the hall. It wasn't the fact that I was assistant coach that bothered me. It was the fact that Austin knew first and, as usual, made fun of me, calling me gopher. It was bad enough to feel hidden in a shadow, but to be humiliated, that was something else. He was twisting the knife. how would I feel if Austin Pace had never been born? Yeah, let's not talk about it. The alarm went off at 1:30. That's right, you guessed it, another school fire. I can't say I wasn't glad to hear the alarm bell. I hadn't been able to concentrate all day because of what had happened that morning. At least now I could feel angry without having to pay attention to teachers at the same time. It used to be nobody raised much of a fuss when the fire alarm went off. The teachers would just get the class up and funnel them in an orderly manner down the stairway and out into the field. Now, it was much quicker and much more serious. It used to be they were all drills or false alarms, but last year, there were 3 real fires. The last one burned down the gym. Now, as we marched into the hall, I could swear I already smelled smoke. The scene out in the field was much more chaotic than any of the teachers could stand for. Kids were running in the field, and the neat little rows of classes were breaking down into mobs of kids, a good many of them pressing up against the fence to see the smoke pouring out of the cafeteria. Now, it wasn't a whole lot of smoke, but it was enough to cause a commotion. I didn't really care to watch the fire. I had my own problems to think about. Okay, if I sound heartless, it isn't because I didn't care about anyone left in the school. I'd overheard the principal say that the school had been cleared and there was nothing to worry about, except for the cafeteria burning down. Which, believe me, is exactly what the cafeteria deserved. While the cafeteria smoked, I fumed, still filled with the anger Austin had put in me that morning. I don't want to talk about it, I told Cheryl when she asked me about the track team. She knew exactly what I meant when I said, and don't ask again. Well, join the club. Why? What's wrong with you? Oh, nothing. It's just that the play they're doing this year is Annie. So, guess what snotty little Brad is absolutely perfect for the role. Wait, Rebecca's trying out? No, I don't even think she has to. They'll just look at her and give her the role. Quick pause. Bradley,
I can't hear because of the math classes and his books' doors open.
you want to come stand again? It's up to you. If you're not familiar with Annie, it's used to be a play, and then they turned it into a movie. And there's like the old, I think 1980s or 70s movie. And there's one that came out like 5 or 6 years ago. And so the main star of Annie is this adorable little child who gets to be like the main character in it. So that's why they're saying Rebecca gets to be the main character there. If you do want to come in, Riley, if you make the decision, just put the chair there and you can come back and stand. I'm happy either way.
Okay, I'll do that.
Cheryl continued to complain at me about Rebecca and other things. I turned to look at the school. The firefighters were standing by the fire truck, doing nothing in particular, which meant that the fire was not a big one and had been put out right away. The cafeteria had been saved, although it would probably smell like smoke for the rest of the year. We all knew there'd be no more school that day. Not till they were positive there was no fire left, and the building had a chance to air out. Still, they couldn't let us go home until 3. So the schoolyard began to resemble a junior high school riot. Kids playing all sorts of unruly games that made the teachers all start pulling out their hair. A club? Said Cheryl. Huh? I hadn't heard her. I said, we should form a club of all the kids who are second best. Yeah, right. And then one by one, we do away with everyone in our way. Mwahahaha. No, I'm serious. We could have a club just for fun. Something that only we could have, and none of the unbeatable kids could be in it. Like a second best club. That's a stupid idea. No, it's not. We could all go and do things, and have fun, and really make the unbeatable kids jealous that we thought of it before they did. We'll be one up on them for a change. Okay, yeah? Who'd be in this club? I don't know. We have to think about it for a while. Come up with some names. I'll bet there are lots of kids who want to be in it. My brother, for instance. Nobody else will want to do it. They'll laugh at us. But if they don't, Jared, we could be starting something big. A secret club that'll go on for years after we've gone on to high school. I thought about this. Cheryl always had a way of convincing me of things, but this time, she wasn't the one who convinced me. was someone else. "Hey, Jared," someone called. It was that familiar voice, a voice I didn't want to hear. I could almost see those arrowheads and that red hair, and those long, bony arms. "Hey, Jared, want a race? First race of the season." So this was it, the challenge. Austin was always the one to challenge first. Usually, he waited until the second week, when he'd seen me run and was absolutely sure he'd be able to beat me. This time, he asked on the second day, and there were too many kids around for me to turn down the challenge. "Don't you think it'd be better if we waited till the field was clear?" "Isn't this clear enough?" I turned around. Sure enough, the field was clear enough to race. Austin had come over with about 10 kids, and more kids were joining us because everyone knew what he was up to and everyone knew about our rivalry. "Maybe we should wait until your legs grow some more." Everyone laughed. I laughed too. Better to be laughed with than laughed at, right? Inside, I wasn't laughing though. "Fine then, right now." Austin smiled, that crocodile smile. "Greg, go about 60 yards and judge us." Greg Miller, one of the new 7th graders on the team, obeyed as if he'd been given an order by God. I highlighted that part from there, and I put my 7th graders feel towards me.
No.
Thanks. So this is where it begins, I thought. This year's competition, this year's war. I felt strong. No, I felt ready to run. I felt like I always felt when I raced with Austin, that maybe this time I would beat him. We got down into starting position, and then Austin got up. Wait. He took off his precious shoes, then his socks. He was going to run barefoot. Okay, he got back down. "You ready to lose?" I didn't answer. Martin Bricker got ready to start us as more and more kids turned to watch. Even teachers were watching. So this is where it begins. "On your mark, get set, go!" I took off like a bullet, cutting through the wind and pounding the grass with every last bit of my strength. I didn't turn to look, but I could see in the corner of my eye that we were neck and neck. 10 yards were gone. I looked toward Greg down the field and concentrated on turning everything I had into power. "This is for every time you beat me in races as a kid." I pushed harder. "This is for when you came back to do it again last year." I pushed harder. "This is for how you make me feel this morning." I pushed harder. We were still neck and neck. 30 yards were gone, 30 to go. The cheers faded away behind us. "This is for challenging me in front of the whole school. This is for everything you'll ever try to do to me for the rest of our lives. This is for those stupid running shoes you wear." 40 yards gone. I was ahead of him by a foot. I was beating him. I pushed harder. 15 yards to go. 15 to go. And then, like he'd been holding it all back, he flew out in front of me. No, he didn't inch out. He flew out like I was standing still. He moved like a machine and fast forward. A ship blasting into hyperspace. He was a foot in front of me. 2 feet, 3 feet. He turned to look at me and smiled, that awful smile of his. I lunged. I dove forward in a wild attempt to reach the finish line before he did. But he was there before I hit the ground. I was moving so fast that I skidded along the grass, skinning my elbows and ruining my pants. The agony of defeat. I felt like that skier who wipes out on the ski jump every Sunday on Wide World of Sports. Agony of defeat. Skinned elbows, ruined pants, and a laughing lost in space. By now, kids were crowding around Austin. "Wow, did you see Austin take off? Wow, you really beat him bad. Wow, Austin's so fast." Wow this, wow that. Austin was loving every last bit of it. They crowded around him and left me there on the ground to examine my elbows. "You shouldn't race Austin, kid," said a 7th grader. "Austin beats everybody." Austin looked down at me. He was barely winded. "You ran pretty good." "For a gopher." And everyone laughed. Gopher! 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 Austin raised his hands to conduct them as they all chanted in unison. Gopher! 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 Over and over again. I could have killed him. I could have ripped him limb from limb. But then I thought about Tyson McGaw. No, I was not Tyson. I was civilized. I wasn't going to attack Austin. Instead, I stood up, brushed myself off, and waited till the gopher chanting stopped. Then I looked Austin straight in the face and put out my hand. Nice race, Austin. I shook his hand. Let me tell you, it took all my strength to do it, too. Yeah, see you around, gopher. I turned and left while everyone crowded around Austin. My elbows had just begun hurting. Cheryl was there waiting for me. That's one thing about her. She was always there. She never laughed at me either. Are you okay? I looked back toward Austin, then turned to Cheryl and asked, so, what are we going to call our club? So this is where the Shadow Club officially begins. I highlighted the part that said she never laughed at me either, and I put my students towards me. It's one of the things I appreciate. You guys never laugh at me.
Why did you cover up the kids' faces? I think the stock photo.
Well, because their stock photo was not very good, so I was trying to redo it because it was talking about the fact that he was running and the fact that he tried to dive across the finish line, so I was trying to find a picture. So like it's a kid diving with a backpack on and the coat flying out to the side. I made the faces look better. So that's Austin as he goes by laughing as he has red hair, and that's Jared as he goes flying and screaming. I felt like I nailed it pretty well. So now we're going to get into the actual beginning of the Shadow Club where they're going to start inviting people. They're going to talk about Stonehenge. Do you guys know where Stonehenge?
It's like,
Yeah.
Is that like the
isn't it kind of like that's where the water with the doorknob kind of?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
that-
chicken.
So their meeting place where they're going to have this secret club meet is this old, like, torn down building from years ago where the only thing left are, like, the stone walls around the edges. So they're going to keep calling this place Stonehenge. This is what they're referring to. They're not meeting at the real Stonehenge. They're meeting at an old broken down house that just has a few walls up, but they keep calling it Stonehenge because it kind of looks like the same idea of things falling. Riley?
Isn't that in like the one movie with the bears and that one girl?
Yeah,
Brave.
Brave.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Because that was, I think she's supposed to be Scottish, which is just north of, because this was in England, but yes, it is that same islandy place on that one.
that's
Leslie,
I had nightmares from that.
from
they don't know. Someone who is British, they think it was Druids or something like that. The reason it's supposed to be, I mean, it's boring to go to. It's literally just a bunch of rocks. What makes it amazing is the fact that this was made like thousands of years ago, and they were able to lift like these giant stones up, and they have no idea how they could
Wait.
lift them.
Out in the
Isn't
middle
that one of
nowhere.
like the 7 wonders?
I don't know. I know the pyramids are. I don't know if Stonehenge is.
I thought.
But
Oh yeah, I thought it was one.
a lot of the wonders have been destroyed over the years.
Oh yeah.
That's
It's
close.
like frozen too.
Chapter 4, the Charter at Stonehenge.
We're still reading?
Yeah, I still have a few minutes left.
We have like more than 3
We have 3
minutes.
minutes.
Oh, you guys can tell time. I'm so proud of you. I don't think anyone knew what used to be there, but whatever it had been, only the old stone foundation remained in a clearing in the woods. The stones were worn and covered with moss. Inside the rectangular stone foundation was a pit, about 6 feet deep and 20 feet across, filled with bushes and trees. It could have been there for 100 years. Nobody knew. Cheryl, Randall, and I had found it years ago exploring as kids, but it seemed too eerie to plan, so we had left it alone, filing it away in our heads for future reference. The old foundation sat there in the thick woods between Cheryl's house and the ocean, waiting. I'd always thought of the foundation as waiting for someone to use it again, I guess, or maybe just waiting to disappear into the earth, like the building that had once stood above it had, or waiting for us to finish this chapter, but that won't be until tomorrow. See, there we go. So we got all the way to page 50, and our checkpoint is page 74. So it looks like I should be able to get like halfway through 60. So my goal is for homework, you're only going to have to read like 10 pages, if things go the way I want. So I'll
Wait,
cross-
tonight?
No, you don't have to read anything until tomorrow. Tomorrow I will officially give you the Shadow Club homework for the characters, and then I will also give you the reading homework, but that's not due technically till Friday.